One, and we're live. This is the first ever Social Monkey going out onto YouTube and other platforms. My first two guests are Carly Ferrari and James Pengelly. Pleasure to have you both on. Absolutely gassed and excited to have a little chat with both of you, because I think for starters we should at least go over how all three of us sort of got together. I think that's an interesting story in itself, don't you?
That is a good story.
It is, to be fair, because I'll get it going, because I went to meet James over the rec, and funny enough, I bumped into you while I was over there, didn't I?
Yeah, we were hiding. We were hiding behind a wall, smoking furtively. I've since been told that only the adults smoke furtively behind that wall, and the kids do it in the open. It's the adults who do it secretly.
Yeah. So we plotted up behind this wall, and it was quite a very quick, open conversation, wasn't it? You know, and when we got started, it was like we'd been speaking for a while, hadn't we? You know,
yeah.
It was quite a comfortable conversation. I mean, me and James have known each other for over 20 years, haven't we?
Yeah, easily.
Long, long time. So, with us knowing each other quite well, I suppose you felt quite confident in having a chat with us. Straight away, I mean, it felt like you had no inhibitions when having a chat with us, did you?
Yeah, that's just because James, I know, is an Aspie like me.
Yeah,
and with an Aspie, I'll let my guard down.
that's like the first.
There's no need to be polite around an Aspie.
Isn't that the first time I've met you?
Social convention is. Yeah, it was.
So that's the maddest thing. That's because you've only been to one at the moment, isn't you? Two. Was you sure? It was the first one, not the second, wasn't it?
It was the
second
first one.
So why don't you explain, James, what you've set up and how obviously Carly met with you as well?
Oh yeah, so I made a page for people with like Asperger's because I've never met anyone. Like, so to feel like when I have conversations with you and we have good heart to hearts, whatever conversation, don't matter.
Yeah.
We're good friends. But like it's just weird how it like sometimes I'll say certain things and you'll just be like, what? And it'll be like, but when I talk to, now I've met a couple of Aspies like through the page, which is obviously the purpose I made it for.
Yeah.
Then you can, when you say certain things, they're not like, oh, what the hell? They're just like, yeah, I know exactly what you made
So
out.
people resonate with you more now that it's on that. What's the social page called?
I think I'll just put on there Aspies in Southend in Essex.
Oh, there we go.
Like
so if anyone listens to it, they can look for that.
Yeah,
Contact you through that page as well.
Yeah.
And obviously that's how. Is that how you got?
That is exactly it. Is that other than my half brother, but I've known for over 10 years now that I've had Asperger's or high functioning autism. Now it's called.
Yeah.
I don't think they really use the term Asperger's so much anymore. I don't know why, but it's generally regarded as high functioning autism.
Okay.
But I'd never met another adult with the same as me, and it's you feel like a kind of an alien, and you just got to tone it down and hide it and mask and blend in, all that stuff, and not be your real self. And to be able to find out or get to know other people, and you're like, I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
You know.
It must be a great feeling.
Yeah.
Must be.
It is, and I just thought it would be helpful and cathartic.
Yeah, and it has been.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
And I met you.
You did, yeah, and that's why I found you so interesting as a person, because you enlightened me as soon as I met you, because I told you what I'd done for my job, and you educated me, even though I've been doing it for longer than you ever have, which was really funny about the plastics and the acrylics and stuff. That was really, really funny. You know, you just got me bang, straight off the mark, and I was like, you know, she's quick. And then obviously from there, you know, there was so much that you went into in the respect of how you function and what you went through going forward throughout your life, you know, through school and things like that as well. And being able to talk like that, like you said, with someone with Aspie, I've never heard it as a term used like that before, so it's interesting
I like it as
using
an
that.
asparagus, to be honest.
Asparagus.
That's my favourite, asparagus.
Right, okay.
I'm an asparagus.
Oh, right, okay. But again, it's something that I've never really come across, because James speaks about it. He's the only person I know that has it.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't experienced it in any other way. And it's strange again for me because there's such a broad spectrum of different people that have functioning autism or different types of autism, and a lot of people don't understand it, which I think it needs to be more out there at the moment.
Yeah,
but it's hard for people to understand because, like, when you've got it yourself, like, so for me, years ago, I couldn't admit if I'm wrong for doing something or whatever.
Yeah.
But now I can actually analyse something more. So I can, like people with Tourette's, when they have a tick, do you know what I mean? They involuntarily will pronounce or, oh, fuck, or shit, or they can't help it. And it's the same for us, but the difference is, like, we'll have a tick that is something will aggravate us. And if it aggravates us, we can't just go for a walk or ride a bike or play a game. There's just certain things you just can't switch off from, and that's what sometimes it's like hard to get across to people.
Oh yeah, and even if like I've calmed down, if I've had some kind of internal or external meltdown, but even when I've calmed down, that feeling about it doesn't really go away.
No, it just lingers.
It just lingers. You think about it, it will constantly be at the forefront of your mind.
Wow. Okay.
Until the problem is solved. That's why we're really logical. We're like, you know how people create problems for solutions? We're like problem solvers.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there is perhaps a roundabout, fast way of doing it, we're going to find that way.
Or a shortcut.
Yeah. That nobody else thought of. Yeah,
but
that's the one.
But it still works, and sometimes can be potentially
it's
more
called
efficient.
winging it, but you know, flying by the seat of your pants.
That is funny. But again, when we met over the park, obviously now that you've met my family as well, obviously I've brought you around to see my wife and my little one as well, which was great, because again you've moved around quite a bit, haven't you, in respect of where you originally came from. Obviously you were from...
Oh, not too far. I mean, Newmarket's not too far.
Well,
Basildon's not too far.
But considering what it looks like, you know,
yeah,
Southend...
compared to Southend. Oh,
Yeah, I know.
I'm jealous of you guys
we had,
living here.
do you know
we
what?
live in a nice little village.
Yeah, but to be fair, Southend was a little jewel in the crown back in the day. It's changed.
Not in my
dramatically.
day. It hasn't been in the last 6 years, that for sure.
No.
It has been a dirty.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, and more needs to be done with it. I mean,
It used to be a great place.
It used to be a great place, and I think that there's too much. There's too many problems and not enough money. That's
I don't know what
that's
it
the
is
problem.
with like. It's for some reason then there's quite a lot of females like this as well. There's a lot of homelessness and drugs in Southend. There's loads of it.
Yeah.
Loads and loads. And the thing about the women is they look terrible. They look like they're dying, and they walk around in the middle of the road shouting and pulling faces. I mean, I took drugs in my 20s, I'm going to be honest. But, you know, I never took anything that made me pull those faces.
But again, that's where does that stem from? Because it probably seems to have been progressive over the last, I'd say at least 15 years, the way that's gone. Because it was only a small minority that you used to see that in corners, pockets and everything. But now it seems to be everywhere, doesn't it? Seems to be
really
littered,
open.
you know, and it seems sad because, you know, why aren't these people getting the help that they desperately
They
need
don't
as well?
want it.
Yeah,
I actually know someone who's a street pastor. There's a group of them in the York Road car park. About 11 of them or 12 of them apparently gather there at night, and they're always having to pay for like needle sweeps and clean-ups in that car park. But they've a good two-thirds of them have been offered places, but because these places are managed and staffed, so they can't take drugs, they don't want to go.
Yeah. So that again, that's the thing, isn't it? It's the drug side of things, and again, where does that fall to? Is that down to a police issue? Is that a council issue? There's so many different places where that falls in line with people being on the street and doing that. Because York Road's not too far from a council centre where women take their kids. Excuse me, you have to get out the car. Imagine getting out the car park and you've got all that sat in front of you. You know, there needs to be more in that respect, and you know, it's so sad to see because. Always used to see a pisshead in Southend, always, because it was a seaside town. It was like it was normal.
Yeah, but pisshead was not a bad thing. Like,
well,
I don't mean that level of pisshead. I just mean someone drunk.
Yeah,
you know
comical
what I mean?
value, yes, but the problem is it's now become where alcohol's readily available as well. You think that you can walk into a shop at 11 o'clock at any given day, right, and you can purchase alcohol, right? So where does that leave people who are on benefits, get their dole money and go, who are single? Some of these people are not I don't ever see these drunk people with kids.
Yeah.
You know, they haven't got children, so they're getting money from somewhere.
They must have, or some of them do, but they've
Yeah.
been in care or grown up or whatever.
Potentially, and a lot of people have gone through a lot of problems, and I've met a couple of people that have gone through the drug rehabilitation side of things and got housed by certain housing associations because of their good behaviour. But it's taken years. It's not something that's a quick fix, and unfortunately it's not something councils and governments can throw money at and it immediately works. That's the problem. So it's got to be a long-term thing, and until they want to spend money on that rather than spending it on multi-million-pound lights that look like Christmas every day of the fucking week. You know, it's a lot of money being spent on them lights and palm trees that are half dead down the seafront.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money being spent along that area.
The rocks and that when they put all that in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the rocks sometimes are. I mean, look at that. Tidal things. You know, climate change and everything. The seas are going to rise or fall either which way. We need some sort of barrier protection there anyway. So it's logical to have that there.
Yeah, but that's for the look.
Yeah.
See,
It's a feature.
It just does seem like the money's going on stuff that's you can see.
Visual, isn't it?
Yeah, rather than stuff that's behind the scenes that actually needs fixing.
Yeah.
see, I think the problem, a lot of it though, does come down to choice and what our government is allowed to do. So, for example, you know, it is illegal to take Class A drugs.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, but that law is not enforced. People go, you know, or it's treated as an illness. I know because it is an illness, and addiction is an illness. But there are certain illnesses that are by choice, but you know they become then the illness controls you. But it should be illegal, and it should be then dealt with by the correctional system. You know, in that it should be mandatory, absolutely mandatory, and a priority that drug addiction throughout the criminal system. That's the process, you know, and people were detained until they are clean.
Well, that would be a great way to be able to do it, but again, it's the money side of things. They won't pay for it, will they?
And where are you going to put them all?
Yeah.
There's going to be fucking so many of those people.
And it's a great idea, don't get me wrong, it's a great idea, but this is the problem that we're having. Until they stop looking at pound signs for advertisements and property, and they look back at what the town's now become, a shell of a town centre. It's a shell. From what it used to be. It used to be able to go
You
so
look at
many
old
different
pictures
shops.
and that.
Even the York Road Market for that bus station, alright, it might be needed for the amount of buses that go through Southend, but it's not going to be needed soon, because no fucker's going to be going to Southend, because there's nothing there.
No.
You know, and there isn't really, unless you want your phone fixed, or unless you want a McDonald's, or maybe you want to go and put a bet on, because that's all I see. Fast food joints, bookies, and the occasional phone shop. And all these clothing stores are shutting down.
That's not just the high street though, that's a lot of it to do with rent-mates and internet shopping.
That's true, that is true. But again, you've got the seafront's already the attraction there, you've got a built-in attraction.
Yeah.
People can make money there, but
There's
it's just
not
really
enough,
not
they're
going.
all generic shops as well, like high street stores. The few stores that there are generic shops, and when you get a seaside town, one of the things, the beauty of it, is you expect independent shops.
Yeah, ones you
You
don't
know,
see
yeah.
everywhere.
You know, your one-off art shops, that's their place there, and they're selling all coastal pictures by local artists and things. But they exist, and they exist in other seaside towns, definitely.
Yeah. And I think there is a couple of art shops in Southend, but I think one's right on the corner of a roundabout that you can only access until you park up. You can't really get anywhere near it. There's another one down Queen's Road in Southend, which I'd always refer, because my daughter gets all of her stuff from there. So
There is a craft shop.
yeah, it's really good. Like some of the stuff that you can buy in there. But I really want it to change. I really want people to be able to go back to that town centre and feel comfortable again.
Yeah, that's it, not scared or...
Because, I mean, look, it was stands testament today. I think it was in Curry's. A gang of kids just ran in there and just ripped laptops and phones off the Curry tables. Yeah,
Crazy,
someone caught it
isn't
on live. And against a gang of kids, you've got some geezer who's just come back to work through coronavirus. You think he's going to go and try and tackle the geezer? Of course he's
Oh
not.
my god, something really, really bad happened last I think it was just before Christmas, I'm not sure, it might even have been at the start of the year, but I was in the town with my son, he was in his buggy, and we had got a cheeky McDonald's. We were standing outside McDonald's, just, I think we'd finished, and then there was a guy standing on the roof of the CEX building, which has now moved further down the high street, but it was standing there, so I was far enough away, probably 50 metres or more, and the police come, there was loads of police, but they come running up the street saying, get back, get back, get back, and like someone near me was saying, there's someone with a gun, but I didn't see any gun, but what I did see within a few seconds of this was a chair from inside the top part of the CEX building, like not the store, but inside there, a chair came through the window from the inside. It was thrown by somebody inside to the outside, and then like glass crashed down on the pavement. And I was like, okay, time to go.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I believe so. I remember seeing that. I think through some sort of social media page. I did remember seeing that. I think somebody's child was in town and they mentioned they had to get the bus home because something kicked off in that regard, and then it was in the paper. I think the following day. But that stands testament to what I was saying. You've never would have seen anyone waving a gun around on top of a bleeding building.
No, I didn't see any gun, but...
No, but again, like you said, you were 50 metres away, unless he had a dirty great big rifle. If it was something in his hand, it could have been a phone, couldn't it, for anyone could have known. But again, it's still mad to see someone up there, you know. Yeah, but again, hopefully, fingers crossed, you know, they do something better with town. I really do. I really, really do.
Napalm.
Oh no, I don't want to decimate the place. No, I loved Southend when I was growing up. I absolutely loved it. They had the bowling alley that burned down. That was cracking when you used to go there. You know, the actual amusement parks were relevant because you never played computer games along that seafront that you'd be able to get at home.
Yeah.
There's always something that was puckered down the seafront you could
Do
play.
you remember the Barracuda?
Yeah.
Oh, the Barracuda. I went on the Barracuda. I used to come down here for down the train with my brother occasionally. When I was younger, like 12, 13. And yeah, the Barracuda, I was on it one day when it got stuck.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was horrible.
What, were you upside down?
I was upside down, well, not completely upside down, at an angle as well, quite like a 30-degree angle or something.
Yeah, I think that's worse if you're stuck, because you're like, how am I stuck at an
And
angle?
which way am I going to swing?
But at least if you're up, you think you're kind of...
The nearest way. But there was a guy, I wasn't too scared, I was only a teenager, but the guy next to me, he was kind of middle-aged and he was crying. He was really red in the face and was going, oh please God, don't let me die, please God, don't let me die.
Brilliant.
I thought I was going to have a heart attack. And I could see the guy from where I was in the box and it was pressing all the buttons and the people on the barriers at the top was shouting.
I'll never forget this, right, for as long as I live. I went on the Barracuda with my cousin. I won't mention his name, bless him, just because I don't want him to get caned. It was brilliant, it really was. Now, we got on the Barracuda and we were all really excited to jump on it. We've got on, we've clipped ourselves in. Now my cousin wasn't as big as me, he was a little bit shorter, a little bit skinnier. So he's clipped himself in, but he's not pulled up the strap. Because it was old school back in the day, you had to pull the strap up yourself, you didn't have some little young chap.
Come and check it.
Yeah, you jumped in, hopped in, belted you in and you were away, wouldn't you? So he hasn't done that, so we've gone up and round, and we've gone up, and he's gone, I hear his back hitting the board, and I'm like, you alright? He's like, no, I'm not. And then all of a sudden we've gone up and over, he's come out of it, and he's hit the cage, bang, like that, he's no longer in his seat, I'm crying. Absolutely, I'm not even bothered about the ride anymore, I watched him tumble around this bleeding cage. It is absolutely murder to my lungs. So we got off, shivering mess. You're out of order. You should have gone to tell me. I couldn't tell them nothing. I was crying. It was brilliant.
Was he alright?
It was fine. It was fine. He wasn't going anywhere. The cage was well locked in. It was just, it was like a hamster rolling around its ball.
Oh,
Gone the wrong, do you know when they go the wrong way and it gets all tangled, the old hamster?
Oh no.
Yeah, it was brilliant. You know, I'll never forget that. And again, those are the sort of stories that some, unfortunately, the younger generations are never going to experience because it's not as safe as it used to be in Southend either, is it? It's not as safe at the night time.
No.
No.
You wouldn't go down there like when you're like 13, 14, like...
Well, a lot do, but they live in town, so it's normal for them. You know, but what they're seeing isn't normal.
We didn't used to go home until it was gone dark.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we all did. We all used to. But I've, like I said, again, fingers crossed it all changes. Now,
The worst thing we used to see
Yeah.
was whenever you'd play in the woods, you'd always find some scraps of a porn mag.
Yeah.
That's all there was. That was the worst thing we ever come across as kids. You know, playing out.
Thankfully, I don't think I've
That
ever
was it,
found
and there
one
was
of them.
That's
you
brilliant.
never did. Oh man.
You're joking.
Whatever woods we
think I-
played in, there was
Everyone found a
always
porn mag.
everyone found, but never a whole porn mag. It was only ever like scraps, torn up things, and like weathered, and you know.
Someone been rumbled in the bush. Oh, quick, tear it up, run
No,
away.
I never saw. We heard stories about the men. You know, there'd always be that one person in the town that everybody knew. Say, oh, that's the weirdo who lives in the woods. Don't go near him.
Yeah, or sticky page Pete. You know? Don't go near him. Don't shake his hand, even if it offers it to you. No, don't touch it. No, wasn't hand sanitizer back then, was there? Couldn't wash your hands with the old hand sanitizer.
Not in
to shake
summer.
Pete's hand. Oh no, dirty. But there's, I mean, you think of all the different woodland places around here as well. There's so many great places to go and walk.
They've gone a little bit though.
There's a few still good places
Oh
around
yeah,
Essex.
plenty.
There is still a good few places. I mean, even round here. I mean, the common. You know, that's
Yeah, we've got the
changed
creek,
dramatically.
we've got all
the creek.
sorts.
We've got all sorts down here. And
It used to be good down here in the Mar Road. Like obviously it's now houses, so no one would have a clue what that was like.
no, that's true.
But we used to be down there all the time. Like obviously the odd little fire and that, but bit of fun, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
All sorts.
It's more like a
I
campfire.
can tell. I'm gonna have to say because something about this is a lie. But anyway, somebody I know. I'm not gonna say who, but somebody I know. Okay, was a bit of a pyromaniac.
Oh no.
Not me. It wasn't me, but it was somebody else. And one day we were cycling places, and this person set fire to a recently cropped, looked like a straw field or something, or corn,
Shit.
and they set fire to the stumps.
No.
Man,
That
it
must have
took
gone
off so quick. And they're trying to stamp it, and no.
Well, you ain't
We
stamping
hightailed
it,
it out there, didn't go back there for a couple of years at
Wow.
least. Never knew what happened. Oh, it was horrible.
You ain't stamping that out.
No. No way. That ain't happening. No, so the other thing I was going to mention as well is that a lot of people around here and a lot of people I know, we are all big gamblers. We like, one way or another, we like playing cards, we like playing poker, we like playing slots. We like doing all that sort of stuff. We absolutely love it.
Don't play against me.
No, not at all. No, there's a good reason for that, isn't there? There is a good reason for that. But one thing that I will say is that there needs to be more of a poker school face to face when things get back to normal, because I think the casino thing is probably going to fizzle out because
I
there's
suck
not
at
going to be any money in it.
poker. I'm terrible. I'm like the worst because I have no poker face. Like it is so easy to see. My face is the most expressive thing about me, and like I cannot hide my facial expressions at all. If I've got a good hand, I'm sitting there grinning like a loon and jigging in my seat, you know, saying I'm gonna win, I'm gonna win. Yeah, so I'm not good at poker.
Well, you could use that to your advantage. You might not have nothing and still do the same.
Yeah, but I can't lie so well. So. That's what I mean. I'm not good at poker.
So when it comes down to it, if someone was to go all in and you had nothing, you would
I'd fold.
You would fold.
Oh, yeah, I
you wouldn't be
would.
able to carry it on.
No,
not
I'd
re-raise,
fold. No, I'd fold.
If you put them all in, you can't re-raise, can you?
No, I was about to go back to that. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's the alcohol talking. That was me who said that, not you. Don't worry about it, Connie. That's why I'm called the social monkey, because I need to be educated. Need to be educated desperately. But again, the reason why I'm doing this as well is because I always feel that you don't have to be famous to talk to interesting people. You don't, and it seems like there's too much celebrity now. There's far too much of it.
Oh, yeah, I hate
There is
that.
far too much celebrity. Now, I don't want to hate on certain celebrities because it's pointless, because everybody's each to their own, and I don't want to pick out anyone and go, oh yeah, it's because of them or it's because of this. But it seems that we're inundated with celebrity. You know, every time you turn a YouTube on, there's a celebrity, regardless whether it's on TV, film, acting. There's so many different genres of celebrity now that it just seems that it's over-littered. And, you know, and it seems like the real aspects come away from it now. You know, there's not real people that you're actually speaking to. So this is why I was so eager to have you on. You're a real person. When I first met you,
Are you
it was,
sure?
yeah. When there was no filter to you, you was just like, this is me. I'm Carly, this is the way I am, you know.
It's probably because she's still buzzing, like, because that's the first time I'd met her, like, so she felt comfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
like
that's
you
what
said,
I'm saying.
you're normally masking.
It's interesting people that you meet that's interesting, not picking a meme from something that you've never said, or picking a part of a film that means something to you. Now, it might mean something dear to your heart, but again, it's not your own thought. It's not that own persona review that I think needs to be portrayed in everybody. Everybody needs to be themselves more, without having to beat down the walls to do so, you know, and then take inspiration from it. Oh, I'm doing it because of them. I'm doing it because of
in
this.
some situations you can't be. If I was myself more, I'd definitely get fired.
Yes. Mind you, you are right. You've got to hold some of it back, but but only to a certain degree. It's different when you work. You've got to be professional, haven't you? You've got to be professional. But again, when you're
and as a parent as well, I've got to make sure I don't, you know, abuse it or not abuse it, but like make mistakes, errors in judgment because of that. I'm letting that cloud it, so I have to, you know.
So do you find? How have you found juggling? Obviously, because
I haven't really. Like, I found
not found it hard juggling being parent and working at the same time. Has that been all right for you?
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah, hasn't been a struggle.
No.
And you've got through it like a champ. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like working.
Yeah, and that's a great thing to hear as well, because some people find mentally that they can't cope.
No, it's
doing
good.
both
I
at
think
the
it's
same
actually
time.
harder.
It's better to talk about that and say, look, is it a problem or isn't it a problem? And
I think as much as I love my son, I love him to bits. He's my very being. But you know, you still need to exist without that as well. You still need to be you, because you were a person before they came along. And if you strip away someone entirely of their identity and they're just a mother, you know, it can cause problems. So no, I think having still a self and a job or some other things that you value as well as that is really good for you.
Yeah, so. Brilliant. No,
it's not too hard to manage it all. Women are good at multitasking.
I know men are shit at it. I know I certainly am. I've been shit at it for years. But for some reason, when it comes to gaming, it doesn't seem to be a problem. My hand-eye coordination seems to function quite perfectly. But any other task, it goes out the fucking window. I don't know why.
I'm the opposite. I'm terrible at video games. I am rubbish. Awful.
I'm pretty good at most games to pick up.
Except track and field.
Oh, you put some serious time in on that, mate.
I have.
I'd like to see anyone come round and fucking try and beat them, mate.
I've got an itchy trigger finger to the old track and field. It's the old school 80s game that I've
Put some
downloaded.
serious hours in there. Serious hours.
Maybe a couple of hours. I wouldn't say serious hours. There's only so fast a finger can go. Honestly, he said to me, I'll give you a challenge. So all it is a button bash and a little tap. That's all you've got to do.
Oh, that's fine. I can do button bashes. I'm a button masher all day long.
There we go.
You can turn it on for you in a bit. And you'll see, and you'll be like,
I remember,
bullshit, mate, that isn't even realistic. How have you got that time? Trust me. I thought exactly the same. Nah, it's not a problem. Mate.
And with fighting games, you know, like the old style ones, like
you
Street
can button bash the
Fighter.
shit out of them.
Yeah.
That's not that button bashing.
No.
Yeah, well, those I used to be alright at. Was it Tekken?
Yeah, Tekken.
This button bashing is the same button.
Oh, okay, like Pokemon. When you're battling Pokemon, I'm alright at Pokemon.
Pokemon.
I love Pokemon.
I've never played Pokemon.
I played on the Game Boy, I think.
Love it. Love Pokemon.
That's on the app, isn't it? On the App Store,
Yeah, the funny thing is, right, they first made the games, obviously, the Go, so people would have to go out and play it. And now, because of all the COVID stuff, they've made it so people can play at home. So they ain't got to go anywhere, they just sit there going...
Oh, serious?
Yeah, I don't obviously play it, so I ain't got a clue.
You still need to get, like, you can't get...
Do you actually play it?
Yeah, every day.
You do?
Yeah, every day.
Because, someone told me that there's a lot of stuff you ain't got to go anywhere now.
Yeah, some stuff like going out and getting gifts. So gifts, and you get like massive bonuses to get to level 40, which is the ultimate goal. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm on level 37, nearly level 38. Okay, which is actually only not even 2/3 of the way through, because the amount of XP you've got to get to level 40 is 20 million, and I think I'm about 13 million.
So you're close.
Yeah, so I'm close. But you get these big bonuses bonuses when you exchange gifts every day with your friends around the world.
Yeah.
Then you can get these big bonuses and on XP. So, but to get Pokestops, you go around and collect your gifts and stuff. You've actually got to hit places, but your little buddy, your little Pokemon buddy at the moment, because of coronavirus, is going and getting gifts for you.
Ah.
But that's the only thing. So you can't actually get balls and stuff from.
But there you go. See, they've used their ingenuity
to keep people interested.
To keep people going into it, you know. And a lot of that's going to. I think a lot of the. We're going back to Southend again, but like you said with the internet thing, I think that's predominantly what's going to happen now. I could see Southend becoming more of a place where people are going to live rather than it being a shopping centre. Because there's going to be a lot of.
I don't know, because I've never been here, like in the town, longer than 6 years. I've never shopped in Southend, but so the whole time I've lived here, the town centre has been awful.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm spoilt because the last 10 years before that, I lived in Romford, which has an amazing shopping centre.
Yeah.
You know, Romford is the bollocks for shopping.
There you go.
It is awesome. It's just got an awesome town centre anyway, and it's also, despite its reputation, always felt to me in that 10 years a lot safer than Southend. I felt way safer in Romford than I ever have in Southend.
I haven't been there for years, Romford.
It's nice.
Yeah. A lot of people have said that. A lot of people have said Romford's it's always been an up and coming place. So it's always had a bad name for itself, and it seems to have sort of, again, regenerated, hasn't
What
it?
actually helped it was it actually, in the last sort of 20 years, it had quite a good alternative scene. So like, you know, you've got your kind of chavvy pop music, you know, Lipstick Ladies and all of that.
Yeah.
You know, they're all into this, whatever the kids are into these days. And then there's the alternative kids that like rock, and they might dress a bit weirder.
Yeah.
You know, people might walk past them with all the goths or whatever. But the alternative, the ones that don't fit in with the
mainstream.
yeah, the Towie
ideal
lot,
of
the
everything,
mainstream of ideal.
Yeah.
And those are generally the nice people as well. And there was a huge alternative scene in Romford when I lived there,
Wow.
and it was nice. Yeah, it was very friendly.
Well, it makes a
quite friendly
change.
town, I found.
But I've always felt as well that it's very hard to stick to one music genre and you have to be really dedicated to it.
Yeah.
You know, because I like all sorts of music. I'm into some weird, like Guzen music from China. People who pick the guitars with the fingernails. I love that stuff. Some of it. It sounds brilliant to me.
I love Spanish guitar.
There you go, another one.
Yeah, guitar's good.
Yeah.
And the old saxophone.
Yeah, going back to some of the 80s saxophone. There's I forget his name.
You don't like sax?
Oh, that's a horrible whiny sound. It's like one of those sounds that sounds like teeth on edge, like metal.
No, it
the
does
sound
not.
of metal. And to me, the saxophone, I hate.
We'll agree to
that
disagree
instrument.
there.
I know loads of people love it, and I just, I hear it, I'm like,
Everyone loves
turn
it.
that thing off.
Do you know what?
Not me, I hate it.
Oh, Baker Street.
Oh,
Tune
no.
Baker Street.
No.
Loved it. Loved it.
Oh, I hate the sound. No, everyone's going to really diss me for that.
No, not at all. You can't, again, you can't like everything, can you?
No.
You can't like
It is a
everything.
whiny instrument though. It
It's
sounds
not.
like someone like nasally singing. Do you remember that Nelly Furtado? She's like, I'm like a baby.
Oh yeah.
And it's got that nasally pinched nose thing to it that I don't like.
Some of it, yeah, but not all of it.
No, no. But again, music genres are so wacky again nowadays because there's so many different types of it. I mean, the old school rap that we all used to listen to through the 90s and 90s, that's completely
House of
different now.
Pain.
Yeah, it's all completely different
Well,
now. And I can't
fucking
get into
crap
it.
now.
I feel really bad
It's
because I was
awful
massive.
No, it's shocking. It's all synthesized. There's no.
I can't comment on it because I don't listen to it anymore.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to.
Yeah, but for me, when I randomly got the radio on, all these random shit come, I'm like, what the fuck is it?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I bet all of us when we were 30, when they were in their 30s, looking at us when we were 16,
Possibly
what
the
are they
same.
fucking listening to? What's a load of old shit?
Yeah, okay.
It's mad how the music stems away from the last generation so much that they hate it. Because I used to hate 80s music when I was a kid.
Did you? I know, I loved it.
I've always loved it.
The only thing I used to like was like what was it, more of the like U2. Used to love U2
Oh, yeah, I
as a
loved
kid. I used to love ZZ Top. I used to love them as a kid, but just because the guitar was just ridiculously overplayed, and I just loved the beards. And now,
I love
going back to
Cyndi Lauper and Pet Shop Boys and Annie Lennox.
yeah.
U2 was an
Eurythmics.
Queen.
Oh,
The
Queen
Eurythmics.
was
I
amazing.
loved the Eurythmics. They were one of my
Yeah.
all-time favourites.
Me and my little one with Queen, we've got indoctrinated. I can't say it properly. Indoctrinated. No,
Indoctrinated.
thank you, because I'm actually ruined. I can't talk properly for some strange reason. But anyway, I had the first ever platinum Queen album, 1, 2 and 3, the greatest hits, back in 98, 99 I had it. I've kept it all the way through.
There we are.
Yeah, the little ones listen to it now.
No.
But now,
Oh.
it's easy for her to just go on YouTube
Yeah.
and go,
Oh,
oh, that's
listen
all right,
to that
Dad, I don't need to say it anymore. It's like, that was supposed to be symbolic.
Yeah.
It's not anymore.
Yeah.
Because she just goes beep. It's like, imagine what school would
Yeah,
be
that's
like
crazy
if we could have
now.
just gone beep, earphones in, do your work, you haven't got to
Well,
go.
we had Walkmans, but we had to put batteries in them.
Yeah.
And do you remember the tapes? And you'd listen to a song, and if a lot of Walkmans only had a forward button, fast forward button, and not a rewind button. Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
so you had to get the
Yeah, and
pencil
you had
out
to-
and put
you
it
had
in
to-
there.
Or fast forward it all the way, turn the tape around, fast forward it again to listen to the same song again, and it was really long. You couldn't just replay.
Yeah, but you could get away with the old headphone up the sleeve. So like you're sitting there meant to do work, and you'd be like,
Yeah.
you know, back in the
My
day.
ears are too little for me to get away with that. I've got really little ears. Anything sticking out my ear. Yeah, they are
I've
dinky.
got little ones as well.
Little dinky ear rolls. That's why I'll claim that I don't hear nothing when I'm being spoken
Well,
to.
that is nonsense because I've got exceptional hearing and I've got really little ears.
Sorry, love, I can't help it. My nose don't stick out far enough. I can't hear.
No, I've got tiny ears and I've got really good hearing. Really good, like better than most people's.
So, going back to your page, James, you know, how many people have actually got in touch with you, obviously discussed about your page?
I think there's like 50 people on there now.
Yeah?
I mean, it's a bit of a shame about this COVID stuff, really. Obviously, in general, but because I was going to meet a couple of the people that lived a little further out.
Okay.
I mean, because thankfully, like Carly and some of the other people, they live local. Do you know what I mean? Either in Wakering or Southend. And some of these guys live up near Basildon and Chelmsford and places like that. So we was going to go to Chelmsford and obviously all meet there.
Yeah.
I was just going to put like Steve and Liam in my car. We were just
Okay.
going to head there.
Nice.
And then obviously all this happened and it was just like, oh great. So now that will eventually happen, but at the moment, just got to put it on hold, which is a bit annoying. I mean, but it's quite interesting because I look forward to meeting them, do you know what I mean? Because like I say, you can relate to people when you have, like, I've never even met them before, but I feel like I can relate to a couple of them really well, do you know what I mean?
Do you feel like you have a barrier sort of come down a little bit when you meet people?
Yeah, I hate
Used
meeting
to.
strangers
Yeah.
normally. Yeah, I'm quite quiet around people I don't know normally.
That's why. Do you feel it's quite strange that you've been sort of quite a bit more
Yeah,
outgoing with me?
yeah.
She even said that with your boy when I met
Yeah,
him,
and
didn't you?
but my son was as well, and
Yeah.
it's rare for him to be so
Chill.
easy going with a stranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like taking you and Nathan, let's go see this.
Yeah, that's it. You know, and that's again, I feel that sometimes you don't have to worry about your barriers too much.
Yeah.
You know, there is people out there that are on a level regardless. You know what I mean?
That's why it was nice for me the first, like when you come to that day and before we met you, Dan,
Yeah.
because everyone else is a little bit less spoken. Like I don't shut up.
Yeah, me
You know
neither.
me well enough, Dan.
I do.
You know what I
I
mean?
do.
I think, you know, wind it in, mate. It's fucking whatever time. Sorry, mate. You know, but when you were there, you were very similar because you felt comfortable.
Yeah.
You just talk just as much. It's like, hold on a minute, I'm not the only one for a change. Do you know what I mean? Whereas it didn't feel any different like meeting the other guys, but it
No.
was just nice to see someone else in the same mannerism. Do you know what I mean?
So were there parents there as well with people that had children with the same
Yeah,
conditions? There was?
so Liam is only, I think Liam's 21.
21 or 22.
Yeah.
And his
And
mum
obviously his mum
Karen.
comes with him.
Yeah.
He's not very social, doesn't chooses not to talk very much, that's up to him.
Yeah.
Obviously, at the end of the day, I'm just glad he comes along.
Brilliant.
I'd like to at least try and make a difference for him. Steve comes along on his own, but I've met Jet. Obviously, you've probably met Jet. She works at school.
Which one?
Wakering, I think.
No,
Or she has done.
I don't think I have met.
But-
no. What's happened?
There's a paint bit of peeling off your chair, and I might pick it off.
Pick it, it's fine.
Really?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah. Don't worry about my stuff. I'm not shy. If it's
Oh no, I'm not going to do that.
do it. Go on. I don't mind.
Really?
Go for it. Yeah. Feel your
Oh,
fucking
it
boots.
was a
I
bit
don't
like
care.
on a tree bark the other
Yeah,
day,
I
and I
know.
had to get it off.
This is why we're buying a new table.
No, I used to get. This is why I was like eventually a bit annoyed at why it took so long to be diagnosed. But because there were signs, from a young kid, I used to sneak out of my bedroom at night
Yeah.
and pick the paint off the banisters, and I got a smacked backside for very, very young, pulling out the furniture, picking the wallpaper off the walls, and then pushing the furniture back, hoping that nobody would ever find out.
Yes.
Obviously that did get found out. But yeah, this is what I mean. It's that is definitely, that's a stimming thing.
Yeah.
And if there is something to pick that's peeling like that, I'm going to pick it.
It's getting picked.
Yeah, it's like a
Pickled
button.
peppers.
There's a button.
I'm pressing it.
I'm pressing that button.
So you're at the back of the plane if
Yeah.
you go on holiday, yeah?
I couldn't be
Not
the
good.
president.
I can't help
Because
it.
he's given the big red button, isn't he?
Yes,
Yeah,
that's true.
that keeps me awake at night.
Yeah, I think that would. Yeah, I think it's too much temptation to touch the red button. Yes,
Yeah.
would be too much. So do you think that you'd be able to be more successful going forward once this COVID's over? Because I think you would be. I think it's a good thing that you've got running there. It doesn't cost anything,
Yeah,
and it makes people's days, doesn't it?
One problem with it I see is that, sad but true, only apparently 23% of people on the spectrum ever learn to drive,
Oh, okay.
which is, I'm guessing, to do with like dyspraxia, spatial awareness.
Hmm.
Or just personal choice. I mean,
Yeah,
just
or
don't
personal
care.
choice, because it is kind of scary, I guess. So that could hinder, couldn't it?
Hmm.
People
Yeah, but some
don't feel-
people just don't like you got to understand, right? It's different when you first come to the social, right? Because you didn't just come to the page randomly and then come along. I knew your
Her son's dad.
so I knew your boy's dad, and he obviously told me that you were interested. So obviously he'd mentioned that when I was working with him that he remembered me saying something about a page or something or another. And obviously I had a chat with him, and I actually spoke to him for about half hour on the phone then, and then he was like, "Mate, I was shocked. I didn't understand.
Well, he didn't even strictly believe it. I guess during our arguments, occasionally has said, "I don't even believe in autism." Blah 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 blah.
Oh no,
Really?
And that's never
Wow.
going to go
Mate, that
down
must have
well.
pissed you
Wow.
right.
That's a big one, that.
That's a
Christ.
Mate, you
That's
must have been raging.
yeah. Like one of my brothers said that to me as well. And people say stupid things like, "Oh, that doesn't affect you every day, does it?" And you're like, "Yeah, like every time I walk down a flight of stairs, every time I put my
Yeah,
nail
don't go
up."
anywhere.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it does. You dummy.
Are you stupid? No, you're not stupid, but are you stupid?
Yeah.
Yeah, are you stupid? And you kind of got to apologise all the time for something that's not our fault, not our choice. There's no cure for. There's no fixing really.
No.
And it's annoying because if someone was walking along with like a white stick and you know that they're blind and you open a door for them, you don't expect them to say sorry.
No, that's right.
They will say thank you because you can see theirs. So, but you don't really get that with this.
No. And again, that's where people sometimes might take you the wrong way.
Yeah.
Again,
Especially if they don't know, they just think you're a bit of an a-hole.
yeah,
An arsehole.
which is disappointing.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing, and that's why I think there should be more information given out there to people on social media for free from the NHS.
And you see, this is a habit of it, being Raspy. We go off topic a lot. We
Yeah,
go.
but
town a tangent.
No, I just meant because what we would the original was obviously I was just explaining because Carly was saying about obviously people could come along like whether they drive.
Yeah.
I was just trying to get that some people don't feel comfortable enough. They don't have that confidence. They are literally nothing. Like they literally don't feel like they have the courage. So what I mean by that is me and Steve are different. Yeah, Steve will happily go down the pub. He doesn't necessarily care if people like don't acknowledge him, whatever. He's there to do his thing. Do you know what I mean? Watch football, have a drink, whatever. Whereas someone like in Liam's situation is different. If his mum was not coming with him, he won't come.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't feel comfortable.
I think it can get worse as it gets older as well. I think the more stuck you get in a certain way, because we can be really rigid.
Yeah.
You know.
And too long left that way.
Too long left that way is
You're wired.
just That's
if
hard to retrain.
But the problem is, like, if you don't want to change, you won't. So like, it's all good. Everyone around you, like, oh, you need to live this way. So for me, like, I've took a massive turnaround in my life in the last like year or two because I can acknowledge things more. But the problem I had was I didn't want Asperger's. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want this fucking shit. I didn't want it.
No.
I'd had enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I felt I fucked up at college. Like, they tried to help me as much as they could. Like, I'll give them credit. I just couldn't fucking handle it because the help they gave me singled me out so bad. It made me look like I'm a complete imbecile, and I'm not.
No.
I was like, no, fuck your help, but I needed that help.
Yeah.
But because of other people, and they don't realise the impact of, oh, look at him, oh, why you got that person holding your hand? Well, it affects you. And because I was like, fuck that, I'm done, obviously I just gave up. And up till, like I say, a year or two ago, my whole life, I just fought it. I mean, so I've just tried to live like everyone else. Yeah. I didn't want it, so I couldn't learn to live with it. Do you know what I mean? Because I didn't want it.
A lot of people need to understand, you know, how much of a knock that can take to people's confidence.
Yeah.
You know,
For me, that works the opposite because I was 29 when it was first even mentioned to me. It was someone I worked with. I was having a meltdown at work. You know, not like in front of anyone, but in front of a colleague who was a friend.
Someone you were comfortable with.
Yeah, someone was comfortable with. And I knew she had a son on the spectrum. I didn't know what. She just sat me down and she told me. She was like, Carly, I think I might know what's wrong with you. Like, and why you feel this way and why you act this way. And I was really offended. I was like, there's nothing wrong with me. And she said, look, you're smart. You know, if you think I'm wrong, I'll apologise. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you. You know, if you go home, do some research. Don't poo-poo the idea just because you don't like the way it sounds. You know, and because of stigma. She said, do some research. If you think I'm wrong, I'll apologise. But she said, just read what you can. And I got home and I did that, and it was like looking in a mirror. I was relieved. I was so relieved. It was like, boom, there it is. And then I had to go through the whole doctors, and doctors weren't. The first doctor I saw was really dismissive and was like, well, you seem to have done all right so far. You know, you drive, you have a job. Like, yeah, but I really need to know.
Yeah.
I really need to know.
Uncertainty is a bit overwhelming, isn't it? Especially when it's something as big as this.
Yeah. So I went back, and luckily, just dumb luck. The next doctor I saw, she said, I'm actually married to a person on the spectrum, so I can understand why this is important to you, and I will refer you. And then it took about a year and a half of all sorts of assessments and stuff.
Christ.
But yeah, but for me, it gave me more confidence learning that I wasn't the only one. I'm not an alien, and there's nothing actually wrong with me. It's just different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like how that you can come out and say that, because it's not. There's not a label to it.
Yeah.
There's not a label to it.
There's no what such thing as normal.
Yeah.
Like if one person's normal is washing their hair in tar every day, that's normal to them.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. It's a relative construct.
Yeah. I like how you put that. It's just.
It's relative to each individual.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. So that's why we're like neurotypical.
Yes.
Not normal. It's not a normal person. It's a neurotypical person who doesn't have these things.
Yeah. So, with this COVID thing now, right? Do you think that once it's over, because I've got positive aspects of this being over by New Year. I know it's an outrageous thing to say, you know, But I would love for the world to get better for New Year's Eve. That would be a wish of mine. For New Year's Eve to be 2021, COVID's gone, let's have a fuck off party and celebrate a new year the
Let's
proper
start
way.
the new normal.
Yeah, 2021. Wait for it to, it'd be lovely. It'd be so nice for everyone to let loose and go, look, we're free of this virus. Let's just have a fucking good time. Everybody loves each other. Like they did in World War II when like we're all killing each other, it's Christmas, let's have a football match. No one's killing each other, no guns. They go out into the fields, the Germans win, you know what I mean, and no one dies. Similar thing, the whole world should just go bang, party, New Year's Eve, no one's dying for a change. What a fucking lovely sight that would be. I'd love it.
I don't know, I think people are going to be paranoid for a while. I think the thing that has most changed, and now I still see like pubs open and restaurants open, is what I've seen that's really changed is proximity.
Yeah.
Is literal physical proximity. You know, you can say people want social distancing and they're meeting up with lots of people, but I have definitely seen, even driving home last night, I saw people stand outside a pub and they're standing far apart, whereas normally they'd be in each other's faces, borrowing cigarettes, sharing lighters, all this stuff, and you haven't seen that.
No.
That's going on a lot less. So, and I think that will continue. That will stay for possibly years.
Maybe, but I think we can be responsible enough to be able to get round it and still enjoy ourselves without being too moronic, because as soon as the pubs were back open we had the little influx of people.
Because the problem is when people have had a drink and they get kissed, they're so comfortable.
I fucking love you.
Oh, come here, mate.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens. And that's a good segue for a reason for me to talk about the legalisation and taxation of cannabis. It
I
is.
love this.
I do. I love this as well because I honestly feel that this country is definitely missing a trick by not legalising and taxating cannabis massively.
Making a fucking millions.
Not just that, it would be billions. And the other thing is that we've got the resources to do it, and we could donate at least 50% of that resource, money made, back into the economy, especially the NHS and the rural services everywhere. So everybody's little town gets an upgrade of what their coppers look like, what their ambulances look like, everything, hospitals. All of that tax generated could just be pumped back into the country.
One of the problems is personal property. A lot of the richest people in the country, of course, are politicians or the lords and the peers. In that comes from some of their wealth comes from investments in companies such as GlaxoSmithKline, Pfizer, and once cannabis is legalised, because you know, like America at the moment, so it's all independent dispensaries.
Yes.
These are not, you know, any Joe Bloggs can go and set up and get a licence to sell cannabis. Okay, you can't patent cannabis because nobody invented it.
No.
God invented it.
yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
it's a naturally occurring substance on this planet. Okay, so other than cannabis-derived medicines, which are not particularly popular because people already know that the plant in itself, in its original or other slightly altered forms without loads of additives, is already an effective enough medicine.
Yes.
The pharmaceutical companies are not going to get in on this. They're not going to make any money from this. So, and who are the people who own these companies and stuff? There you go.
But again, you've got to look at the amount of people that do either smoke or ingest cannabis, either which way about it.
Yeah.
They're a lot more relaxed, a lot more
They
docile.
fight less.
Yeah, they fight less. Yeah, a lot do. If you had a cannabis bar next to a pub, guarantee you the police wouldn't be called to that cannabis bar once.
No.
Not once. Not once. But I do understand the dangers behind it, because I'm not a moron just because legalise weed, man. You know, it's not just that, because you have to be self-conscious about people such as people with schizophrenia.
Yeah.
Who are very, very vulnerable around that sort of stuff. And it's the same as you wouldn't give an alcoholic a bottle of vodka. If you knew they were an alcoholic and they were recovering for whatever reason, you won't go, "Hey, mate, don't worry about that. Yeah, there's your bottle of vodka." You're not going to go up to a person with schizophrenia and go, "Hey, I'll smoke that, bruv." You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's not for everyone,
No,
definitely.
it's definitely not. But we are missing a trick. Canada has just legalised it. It's part of the Commonwealth. Either Queenie's looking at it going, "Oh, Boris isn't letting us do it," or I don't know if the Queen's agreed to it in a Commonwealth country, because I'm sure she must have been briefed on it. Why ain't it happening here? I don't get it.
You don't have any control over another country.
it's not the control, is it? But she's the
No,
sovereign.
but she does. She has control over alcohol.
Yeah, yeah.
She said yes. Yeah.
It's got to be changed because medically it can help a lot of people with their ailments. They say it can cure cancer. I haven't seen any definitive proof to say that it does, but I'm sure it helps with information after you've had surgeries.
There's meant to be a lot of definitive stuff from it in America because obviously it's a lot more widely used.
It is, but there's no positive say it definitely cancels this out, but it definitely helps a lot of people with lots of different ailments, and it relaxes people. It's a happy thing to have.
Yeah.
If you have too much alcohol, you could end up either being sick, passing out, banging your head, or having a fight with someone.
Or ruining your liver.
Yeah, and ruining your liver. Now, if you ingest or smoke cannabis, either which way, you're going to sleep. That's what's happening. You're going to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point.
You might lose
After eating the contents of your fridge.
Yeah, true. True. You are
Worst
pounds
things
and
that
poundage.
happen, there's going to be the next day the morning poop.
But I definitely advocate it, just only because, I grew up seeing alcoholism in the worst way. And it's something that I feel that a lot of other people have had to deal with as well. And I think that when you see something like that go on in your life, I enjoy a drink, but I don't enjoy it in the excess of what the older generation used to.
No,
It's scary to look at what I used to see, and lucky for me I had a mum that got me out of it. You know what I mean? My mum was like, you're not a drinker. You're not a drinker.
You don't so often see people drink drinks just on the rocks.
No.
Just
Was
sipping
you
it away.
given alcohol at a young age?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
same.
was.
A lot of our people, our age, we were all allowed to drink, like at family parties and stuff. Not a lot, but we were allowed to drink really young.
I weren't really. I started to be allowed at one point. Yeah.
But again, I've moved away from beer because I can't drink it. Like he said with me, drinking it on the rocks. I can drink a bottle of scotch or a bottle of whiskey. No problem. No problem at all. But you give me 4 pints, I'm on my arse. I am. It's not even a lie. I end up being sick. I've just wasted 35 quid on 4 beers that I've just thrown up down the toilet. And then I look at people that have alcoholic addictions and I feel so sorry for them because they feel like that every day.
Yeah.
That's so, and you look at the amount of money
There's no positive feeling from that.
No, but they feel like there is because
there's a relief.
The positive feelings when they're drinking, but there's always a come down from it. I think with cannabis, it's more of a dependency of being self-contained, which people find themselves in.
Yeah.
They get very self-contained, very isolated. I'll come home, I'll do work, smoke a spliff, watch a bit of telly, I'll go to bed, yeah, that's been done, sleep. And people can get into a really, really bad circle of life with that because then you just feel like you're never going anywhere, but you're so mashed and content because you're consistently smoking after work, you don't ever go anywhere.
That's
don't
the
do
thing,
anything.
though, it's not. What classifies an addictive substance? Okay, I looked into this quite thoroughly,
Okay.
and the classification for a substance to be addictive is that it has to have one factor only, which is it has to have withdrawal symptoms.
Right.
Okay, cannabis does not have withdrawal symptoms. It is therefore classified as a non-addictive substance.
Nicotine within.
Okay, nicotine is, yes. Okay, and also it can be psychologically addictive, but then so can anything. So is gambling, so is sex, so is exercise. These are all, they've got no physical factor or no substance involved, but they are addictive. That's a psychological addiction. Okay, and cannabis is definitely psychologically addictive, like everything else can be.
Yeah.
But physically, it's not.
No.
It has none at all. You
No.
can stop. I've stopped for 3 years at a time, and not touched it, or months and months and months. And I think the people that just get into this pattern and they say, oh, they're addicted to weed, they're not. They're addicted to this. They need some other help in other way. They may be in a bit of a rut or depressed.
It depends on the high that people get from it because there's definitely chemical imbalances in people's brains, all in different areas of life, and cannabis doesn't just affect everybody the same way, because but I've always said there should always be a blood test involved as well to see what cannabis suits you, because sometimes I've smoked stuff and I've gone,
Oh, that's horrible.
yeah, that's fucking blowing my head off, but it tastes nice. Could we just tone it down a little bit if there's a little volume button, that you could actually tailor it to your bodily functions so it works for you better. And I'm sure there's definitely going to be a way. I mean, even with the with hemp, It could be used instead of paper. You could save the trees. You know, it's fucking
Mate,
forest.
so much you
so
can make
much
out.
more.
You could save the trees. I mean, all of these people who used to say, "Oh yeah, the hippies in their hemp trousers," and yeah, go for it. If you can make, I mean, look what you can make with clothing lines nowadays. I'm sure you can make hemp look sexy. I'm sure you can.
Yeah, there's loads of hemp stuff.
Yeah, I'm sure you can. So then if you take paper out of the equation and use hemp instead, alright, the timber industry is going to take a lot, but let's be honest, there's not really much fucking wood left, is there, for you to chop down?
No.
You know, I think most of it's
About
fucking
time
gone.
they leave it alone.
Yeah, and I think that if we can actually grow mass productions of hemp alongside the cannabis, then you're killing
It
two
grows.
birds with one stone.
So much quicker than trees as
Yeah.
well.
And you can farm it so quickly. Again, imagine if the farmers had the facilities to be able to grow cannabis. You imagine these poor farmers who've been getting up 4 o'clock in the morning, right?
There are cannabis farms in the UK.
Yeah, but they only sell it to external
Yeah.
people, don't they? It's not done here. But the farmer, he's milking a cow for Tesco's. What's he get? 50p. Imagine him giving me his dirty, great big fucking outhouse that he's got at his farm. It's full of hay, just filling that full of weed. You telling me farmers won't be able to make a crust then?
Of course they would.
Yeah, they'd make a fucking fortune. And these farmers work their nuts off to give us our milk every day.
Innit? Why don't they deserve a reward?
Mate, I'm telling you, if you give a horticulturalist like a farmer the opportunity to grow weed in mass production in a fucking field, we'd have the best weed in the world. I'm
Do you
telling
know
you.
what? There's one thing I've never thought about looking into with weed is does it actually serve as a food for any animals? Are there any animals that eat it? Like, say where does it grow naturally? I don't know.
Everywhere.
Well, everywhere,
It
yeah.
does.
But,
It
You know,
depends
do
on how-
rabbits nibble on it? Do cows like it? What?
I'm
Who
sure they
knows?
do. I mean, the hemp plants you would have thought that could probably be nibbled on by insects at least. You know, I'm sure like
Yeah.
rabbits and mice and other different rodent creatures would probably eat it. Be interesting to see how many dead bugs you'd find, wouldn't you? If it was something there. Not to be too mutilated towards the animals, because obviously we want them to be fit and healthy, bless them. But yeah, the occasional rodent upside down with his half eye shut, man, always have a good time and everything. Bless him.
There might be a lot more roadkill.
Yeah, because they're too slow across the road. Yeah.
No, they just get. Oh, it's a
Blinded by the lights, yeah. It's not a big disco ball. So, where do you want to take this page of yours? Because I really want you to push this. So I think it's a really good idea, and I think that...
Yeah, but it can only go as far as people make it go, really, because at the end of the day, it's about the people that choose to use it or interested, you know?
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was... I was quite shocked the other day because a random guy popped up on there, sent a request. So obviously I sent him a message, I was like, no offence, like obviously I made it private so I can at least find out who's joining, so I know like no one's got to worry about nothing, or you know, no.
Being smart, of course.
Yeah, because obviously not being funny, most people from Wakefern know most people talk about gossip and shit all the time. I don't really want that kind of thing on
No,
there.
well, there's specific discussions that you want to be
Yeah.
having, you want all that kept out, 'cause that's what social media is for. You want a specific genre of people to be comfortable talking about
That's it.
what's happening in their lives,
Yeah.
rather than worrying about what Sandra down the road's doing, you know what I mean? So,
But yeah.
Karen, there's
Yeah.
always a...
yeah.
Not you, Karen, the
No,
other Karen.
sorry, mate. but
Yeah,
yeah.
so like I say, this guy popped up, so I messaged him, and then he explained who he was, and then he told, basically he lives just across the road, a couple of doors up,
Yeah.
and when he sent the request to the page, he put a no to all the questions. So obviously I've got specific questions like, are you affected, or do you have like a child that's affected, like certain things like that. He answered no to everything, so I was like, no offence, like you've answered no to everything, I'm just curious why you wanted to join the page, you know? Like, because I've put like some private videos and that on there. And he was like, to be honest mate, I live just over the road. I don't really know you, but obviously I saw your page on the Wakefern page a little while ago, and I'd just like to try and understand like what life's like for other people. It's like I don't know anything about like what affects you,
Yeah.
but I'd like to try to understand, even though I don't know you. So I found that quite endearing. So I was like, you know, like obviously I just accepted him, and I haven't really spoke to him since.
Which makes a change of hearing something like that in the world now.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, which is a positive aspect, which is why I want you to push this more, because I think that outreaching to more people and making them more of aware.
Yeah, but this is the thing. There's a fine line, because I've already, like, amongst the people that are on the page, I've tried pushing it myself. Yeah, so I've put up there, I tried doing like lives. So for example, I put 2 lives up that are quite personal, so I've tried to explain to people like what I've been through. Like, and for a parent to understand how a lot of that is and the perspective, because the parents got no idea that my mum's got no fucking clue. When I got in from school, I've ripped the shit out of her. Like, she's nearly sitting there in tears. I am just raging. You know, my stepdad's like, you know, it gets to a point where my mum's clearly had enough. I ain't stopped. I ain't slowing down. I'm just carrying on.
Yeah.
But yet, you know, my stepdad will be like, look, you need to either fuck off out or go in your room and do something. Your mum's had enough. And that would be my slap of reality, like, fuck, I'm being an arsehole. At the time, I didn't have a clue what was wrong, like what was going on. So obviously, that would be my cue. I'd fuck off. But yeah, I was like that all the time, and obviously, I had no clue when I was that age.
No. You said to me before that you didn't feel like you got enough support growing up.
Well, no, because the school refused to test me, so I never knew anything was wrong with me till I started college. And the only reason I knew was because, like, within the first month, one of my teachers picked up that I was struggling, not with any of the practical work or any of the work itself, but when it come to essays, which was long pieces of text, I struggled massively. And they were like, look, not being like to my mum, you know, we're not being funny, do you mind if we test your son? We'd like to, you know, just to check that he's alright, that he's not got anything going on. My mum was over the moon, you know, she couldn't, like, that's it, we couldn't really afford to, she knew something was up with me at school, the school just didn't care. So yeah, when we did find out, like I say, I went from that period just fighting it, you know what I mean, and it's only been the last year or two that I've thought, fuck it, like, I've spent my life fighting this shit, and I'm no better for it, like, I'm drained, like, I've got nothing left, like, I'll feel. I'll be in the Phil. I've got nothing left, Phil. You know what I mean? That's exactly what I felt like. What's that?
Do you feel better for embracing it?
Oh, massively. Like, the best way to put it is once I've kind of learnt to accept fault and errors, like, rather than feeling the ways I used to, like, you can't be wrong. Like, it's just
no.
It don't work.
Do you know what made me feel better? There was this one thing, and it was an amazing question. And it was hard question to answer, but I had to think quite a lot about it. But I realised deep down I wouldn't have taken the cure. She asked me, if there was a cure, would you take it?
Back then I would, 110%.
I wouldn't. I realised I wouldn't, because if I did, then it wouldn't be me anymore. And that made me realise, okay, then I'm happier with that than I thought I was. You know, I wouldn't be me anymore. I'm okay like this. I quite like this, certain aspects of this. There's things about myself that I wouldn't change for the world, and I wouldn't want to not be me.
You take the pros with the cons.
Yeah.
And that's made you awfully talented as well, isn't it?
Not really.
Well, how many instruments do you play?
Not a lot.
Not a lot. I don't play any. How many do you play?
Badly.
Yeah, but how many can you play? You can play 3, and which are?
Piano, guitar, and harmonica.
Look at harmonica.
That's easy. That's just.
Is it?
Yeah, you breathe out for major notes, and in for minor notes. You know, and you've just got to scale as if you would a piano.
Oh, simple as that.
It is that simple.
I have tried.
Out for major, in for minor.
I've tried to look at piano sheets and keyboard.
Mate, looking at music notes.
Oh, it's easy.
I suffer from dyslexia, so looking at anything on a bit of paper baffles me to start with. And then having to transfer it onto doing the tapping, the keying. What's it called? Is that what it's called?
Keyboard.
Keyboard, yeah.
Back in the day, I used to play the trumpet, right? And when I did.
Did you?
Yeah, in
Oh,
school.
that's awesome.
In the old school band. Yeah, mate.
I
Primary
can
school.
imagine with one of
Primary
those. Well, you
school,
proper
mate.
suit a wind instrument.
Yeah, primary school, mate. But I couldn't understand, like, the notes just baffled me. It had to, like, I had to have letters drawn on it.
Oh, did you? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So if I had a sheet where it was like, oh, letter, blank, letter, I'll be like, blank. Because I don't know what I couldn't read them. They just all kind of merged because they all fucking look the same.
Yeah.
Like, not to you, but they just all jumbled.
You had to do that. Yeah, like I had to. As part of music lessons, you had to do the theory and actually learn to read music as well. They do teach you that.
We didn't get taught that because we always piss about. Always used to piss about. We used to sing the Wrigley's chewing gum advert on the way in. Used to march, carry it with you, chewing gum, like all 30 kids all riding in, our music teachers pulling her out, going, "No, stop singing that song!" We used to do every single lesson. Bless her. She was how she put up with all of us for so long, it was just ridiculous. Class after class, year after year, everyone just used to take the piss because her name was Mrs. Byrne and she was a music teacher.
Why is that funny?
Because what song goes with Burn? Burn, baby, burn.
Disco Inferno.
Yeah, and obviously she was no way in any sort of disco teacher whatsoever. She was very much classical, so she did bear the brunt of a lot of pissant kids like me.
I made teachers cry. I made my French teacher cry several times.
Did you?
Yeah. She was an idiot though. She used to write detention in my homework diary in pencil. And then all of a sudden I used to just rub it out and she'd say, "Oh, you had detention this." I was, "No, I didn't. Where is it?"
Sneaky.
I used to throw her stuff out the window. And I had another teacher who wore, oh my God, this was like the worst crime against fashion I've ever seen. She had an outfit that she would wear semi-regularly and it was various shades of bogey green. She had bogey green shoes, bogey green tights, bogey green shirt, bogey green skirt, bogey green cardigan. And I'm like, where do you find that many non-matching clothes all in bogey green?
That's rank.
It was... She looked like a pea, a spew of pea, a pea vomit. It was disgusting.
I understand if someone like bought it for you for Christmas, but not freely
Where do you
chose.
get bogey green shoes, for God's sake?
The shoes were green.
The
Never.
shoes, bogey green shoes. They were like,
I'm not having it.
like little ballerina flat suede bogey green colour.
What, worse than...
No, that's not bogey green, that's bottle green. I'm talking bogey green.
Oh, well, obviously for health and safety purposes we're not going to get an example out, but I'll take your word.
No, I had another teacher who I swear she would brush her teeth with lipstick.
Really?
Oh, her teeth were minging. She had, my brother as well. She was his home tutor, and we used to, you used to get your report card in an envelope, and the teacher would just stick the envelope down. Well, he got me. She didn't stick it down. It was like we'd read a homework card. Not a homework card, a report card on the way home and know you're in trouble, not.
Yeah.
Do you remember
Just
that?
in case.
Yeah, I better read this and find out how bad it is. And I was sick. He got me to open his one, and then read it and whatever and stick it back down. So I licked the envelope again. Once I'd stuck it back down, he told me which teacher had licked that. And it was lipstick lady. And she had like this really bad plaque build up on her teeth that were always sticky, and she had so much lipstick stains on her teeth all the time.
Sure,
I licked the same envelope as her, and I was just, I gagged.
She wasn't snogging another member of staff?
No, she just wore bright red lipstick, but she always got it on her teeth.
Very strange. I thought that was a really bad lipstick applicator. If someone couldn't do it properly, they'd go, they've got it on their teeth, but...
Yeah.
Oh, you doing this a lot?
Yeah, she had quite big teeth.
Oh, there we go. Put it down to the big teeth scenario.
Maybe just not wear lipstick.
Maybe. So, what do you reckon's going to happen next year? What are your aspirations for the world to be like?
Oh.
What do you want? What if there's one thing?
I would like to see the massive reduction in airspace travel continue. I think there are too many commercial flights, way too many. I myself have flown on more than one flight, long distance, on a virtually empty plane with like 10 passengers on a 747 or something.
Christ.
Yes, and they were cheap flights because they were nighttime, red eye, and I could sleep, and at the time I thought it was great. But I know a bit better, and having seen the way that our environment, the impact it's made on our environment this summer, having less people on the roads, less flights, less commercial travel in general, I would like to see that continue.
Yeah.
Definitely. And all these people say, can't let Virgin or EasyJet go under. Let them go under.
Well, let's think, obviously, you've got to think...
These are more important.
You've got to think of impartial people that work for those companies.
True.
because obviously they
ain't necessarily all going to get redundancy.
No, we don't. Obviously, people losing their jobs. That's one thing. Obviously, we don't want.
Especially,
but we can
what's
understand
going
the
on.
respect of like what you just said. You don't need a dirty, great big plane to take someone to one place to another. It's only got 10 people in it.
Exactly.
You know that what you said there is correct.
Well,
I agree with that.
Because of the whole planes having to keep their airspace slots, whether the flights are full or not, otherwise they lose them. That's why, you know, flights can be flown not full, and there's too much of it. And the fact of, you know, these planes being grounded, that's been a good thing.
Yeah, for the environment, I agree. I think, I can't wait for the day that everything is electric, like the cars are electric. I think there's so many different vehicles that
I'm
already
50-50 on that, just purely for the sound.
Yeah, like, I know people tear me a new arsehole for saying this. I don't drive, so what right have I got to say about anything? But environmentally wise, if you're running an electric car, yes, you're going to be burning a lot of energy for a generator.
It will happen.
Charging it up. Either which way you're going to be using energy, it's not going to
matter.
But it's just cleaner.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's a cleaner way.
Electricity can be renewable energy. There's loads of ways, you know, hydroelectricity, wind farms. There's loads of ways of generating electricity that do not harm the environment. Okay, whereas fossil fuels, obviously, it's always going to harm the environment.
They will go electrical because the power of electric is infinite. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? In a car, the potential they have is infinite, really. And
the other thing is, wouldn't it be nice for the world economy not have to be run by oil for a change?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it? Can't the world be run on something else for a change other than oil?
It's been around long enough.
Plastic, like when I found out, I found out probably more than 10 years ago now how plastic is made, and I cried for a lot of days over that. That put me in a spiral of depression at the back of my mind all the time, and I've never felt good about plastic ever since. When I think you walk through the pound shop and you see how much plastic tat there is, crap and packaging that we don't need, and stupid ornaments and all this stuff. Okay, and it's just throwaway junk and your plastic crap that comes with your McDonald's toys and all ends up in the skip. That's all made from oil.
Yeah.
That is horrifying, and it's so cheap. It's way cheaper than it should be. Plastic should be a lot more expensive than it is, considering how it's made and where it comes from.
The other problem is it's not. You can't. It's really hard to reuse, isn't it? Once it's been moulded to a shape that suits it, you can't really. It's not like paper or glass, for example. You can't reuse it to a certain degree. But there is. I mean, back in the day, you think of all the toys that we had, all them plastic Barbies, all them Action Men, all of them Power Rangers, all of those other toys that you used to have. Where are they now?
Yeah.
They're probably still about somewhere, or either in the ground, buried in landfill, or they're stuck in a loft somewhere for someone else. And again, it's never going to biodegrade.
There is one thing that I've seen really good. It's kind of fun, looks really nice. Is making plastic bottles into bricks. So all they do is like really pack the plastic bottles. Glue the lids on so they're packed, so they're heavy, and they're using like cement. So using plastic bottles that are packed full as building material. I mean, you must have seen rafts and things, and using them underneath boats as buoyancy aids.
You know what I did see, which is amazing, which you've just made me think of. I think it's in one of the African colonies, one of them, and in a shanty town. It might be South Africa. I'm probably wrong. Someone will probably pull me up on it. But what this guy's done, because where the shanties are all so close together and all the roof tin tops, they've cut out holes in the top of their shanties. Got like any plastic bottle from any retailer you can think of. Put it in and seal it up, but fill it up with water. And do you know what happens? The sunlight goes through it and it acts as a light bulb in the shanty towns.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah. It might be South Africa, it might be somewhere else, but I was just thinking, what a bit of ingenuity that geezer's just gone.
Yeah, that's quality.
And honestly, it's like this light in here. It illuminates the whole fucking shanty, and these people are near enough in tears. Because you're never going to get a light bulb, and again, you might even get a little bit of it at night time if the moon's out.
The way I think of it is like water companies don't produce water because the water in the world is already all here.
Yeah.
They produce plastic bottles. That's what they do.
And they clean the water as well. Don't forget for
They do that, but the majority of what they do is produce plastic bottles. And we could all help reduce that by using a reusable bottle.
Yes, that's true. And stop buying, not to stop buying bottled water because it's handy to have when you're out and about, but again, perhaps Volvic and all of these other places, you know, that have bottled water could have actual fill-up stations.
Yeah.
So you put in
Yeah,
like
that'd be
£2 for a dispensary, like the old Coke cans. You got a whole tub of Volvic water, you got to put £2 in and you can fill up your bottle and you can take it away. Without having to continuously use, like you said, you've got a
Yeah.
reusable one. Why not do that? Vending machines
It
use
should be
vending
just
things.
priced per mil.
Yeah.
You know, you want, I don't know, 100 mils, you're going to pay £1 or whatever. You want 200 mils, you're going to pay £2.
Yeah.
It should just be priced like that, okay? And then whatever container you go, okay, it measures it as it comes out, and that's what you charge.
It's like with the coffees.
Yeah, you charge for what you use. If you order a small, a medium, or large, what they call it, these wanker names. Don't they? Grande. Yeah, I want a grande latte.
What's the other one? Venti.
Venti.
That's that one.
Mate, I don't know what any of these are.
Oh, the posh coffee names.
No. Wanker coffee shop names. I want a skim low-fat macchiato with Arabic blah blah.
Have you given a stupid name before?
What?
One
I
of
don't
these
use
specific.
coffee shops.
One of these. You don't use one of these
No.
specific coffee shops.
No.
See, I have.
My name's silly enough.
Well, no, but you come up because they say, "Hello, can I have your name?" I'm like, "Yes, Brian." You know, just come out with something. You know, announce it to the world, and they're like, "Okay, Brian." You know, hurry up, get rid of him. He's a bit weird, that one. You know what I mean? So I do like putting little pranks like that. But I have been pranked in a certain establishment, again, for obvious purposes. I'm not going to say which establishment it was, but I was made to wait, right, 2 hours for a chicken burger.
Oh,
Right.
what?
No word of a lie, right? So the place that I was at was already packed anyway. So eventually I worked my way around to the front of the queue and I've ordered the specific chicken burger from this establishment. And I've stood there, paid for it, stood there. Crowd of kids come in, popcorn, chicken, everything else, blah blah blah. Other people have come in, got burgers and blah blah blah. I'm looking at this woman like that, and this other woman who ordered food and sat down. She said, "Are you still waiting?" I said, "Yeah." She went, "What are you waiting for?" I said, "Food." She was like, "You ordered before me." I said, "I know." Like that, so I stood and I waited. And I looked at the woman at the counter. She was still looking at me like there was something wrong with me. And I was looking at her, and I just went, "Is he plucking that fucking chicken in there, or am I actually going to get a burger?" She went, "Oh, have you not been served?" I said, "Well, do you think I'm just standing here looking at you for the fucking fun of it, love? Come on, work it out." So, again, I'm irate, but I'm also being a little bit blatant to say, "You're taking the piss. Come on, I've been stood here long enough." So I waited. He's doing it now. Right, comes out.
You're spitting in it
No,
now.
it's the wrong one.
Oh
It's
no!
not the one I ordered. Right, so I said, "Look, what you've given me isn't what I've ordered." It was like £2 less. I said, she went, "Oh, can we just do you another one?" I said, "I'll tell you what," I said, "you give me those 3 things on that tray there," and it was a popcorn chicken, it was and 2 £1 things. I said, "You give me all of that and I'll leave." I said, "I've had enough of waiting for some person to work out which burger they're supposed to be cooking me." It was absolutely unbelievable, and this was one of the high class chicken establishments, you know, supposedly. But no, made me wait. And my daughter was sat there looking at me laughing, seeing me seething, screwing, going, "All I want's a fucking burger. That's all I want. But she was just looking at me as if I was the one with the problem. I was like, "Yeah, I have got a problem, but you're the one who's supposed to fucking fix it." But no, make me stand there and look like a complete nutcase. Unbelievable.
You know those cheeky women, and it's always a woman who does it, right? Who go into like chip shops and say, "Oh, can I just try a couple?"
No.
I'm not sure if I'm wanting it yet. I'm that woman.
Oh, yeah. If I was the chippy guy, I'd
If
take
I'm
the fuck
drunk-
off.
They always do. I'm like, "Can
Try
I
this
just try
bullshit."
one? I'm not sure if I want chips. Can I just try one?" And they always give me one.
I think it's because if a bloke went in there, I don't know if I go on, mate, guess check, you know,
I've done that
you
loads
get
of
told to
times
fuck
when
off,
I'm
wouldn't you? You would. Ain't happening. Ain't
Yeah.
happening at all. So, as this is my first podcast that I've done, you know, we've now been talking for an hour and 25 minutes, believe it or not. I think we've done quite well.
And I need a drink.
And you need a drink. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there, and on my 10th one, hopefully I'd like to have you two back if it's successful enough to have another chat about how we've got on, because there's a lot more to both of you, which I think that people need to know. I'm going to plug James's thing enough today, but I'd also like people to refer to Carly, because isn't it right that you make jewellery?
Yeah.
You do,
Yeah.
don't you?
Oh no, you don't have to plug that,
Why-
but I do.
why not?
Yeah. No, I just
Why
do it
not?
because I love it.
I know, but you're good at it, because I've seen some of the pictures
Yeah, they
of the
are
stuff
good.
you
Yeah.
made, and it's really nice. So what is it on the Facebook that you've got on it on there?
Well, it's actually easy on Etsy. So if you just looked on an Etsy, look for shops. Sorry, it
Yeah.
would be Rainbow Ferrari Jewellery, but there's no space in between Rainbow and Ferrari.
There you go. So if you're up for some nice jewellery, looking for a nice present gift, then have a look at Carly's jewellery, because I guarantee it looks absolutely fantastic. And it's handmade, is that right?
Yep, it's not overpriced either. A lot of handmade stuff can be really overpriced, but because I do it, I love doing it anyway. I would just do it, and I only started selling it because I've been doing it for a couple of years and my skills sort of massively improved. That I felt confident enough to sell it. So I would just do it anyway. So I don't charge too much for labour or the time. It's more materials.
Yeah.
So whereas a lot of handmade stuff, you know, I didn't really start it as a business. I just started it because I had a lot of it that I'd already made.
Oh, there you go then.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, hopefully when I speak to you next, you've got a few more orders with any of that.
Yeah, I've got good reviews.
There you go.
I started the webpage in October, and I've got so far 8 5-star reviews from
Brilliant.
sales. So all of my reviews have been 5-star.
So next time you come through, and you come down here, I want you to, there's 2 shops. I hate plugging stuff because it sounds like I'm just doing it for the fun of it, but I'm not, because I actually purchased from these shops and they're fucking banging. The first one is my butcher.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah,
mate, he is a good butcher.
my man down the Wakeland Butchers, he does some classy meat. Now the people who are lucky enough to have my beef Wellington, I got my meat from there. You know, the fillet that he done me was banging, and I fed at least 5 to 6 different people over 3 different courses.
Wow.
Yeah, I spent enough money, but it was fucking lovely, and everybody else enjoyed it. So if you're up for a beef Wellington, for whatever reason, get yourself down to Wakeland Butchers and get some of that fillet from my man in there, because it is absolutely lovely. And then once you've bought your meat, you've got to go and get your dessert, right? Yeah, you've got to have a dessert after you eat something nice. Nanny Eggs next door. It's next door. You haven't got to go far. It's next door, right? And she does salted caramel donuts. Oh my God! You can't. She doesn't have enough. She doesn't have enough.
I've had one. I
What?
always go in there for a baguette, mate.
Damn! Have a salted
mate,
caramel.
the baguettes are awesome.
Yeah, I know they are. Mate, I've eaten in there a few times now. The old toasty that I had in there. They do nice coffees in there as well. She's just reopened her tea garden, Chris, as well. So she's really making a good go of it. She's been open throughout COVID. She's helped a lot of people. So massive shout out to Chris as well, because there's a lot of people that she's helped along the way through this tough time. But she's just released the giant salted caramel fucking cake. She put it on Facebook today. I went, how much for a whole one? I haven't got back to her yet because I'm too scared of what it's actually going to be. She's seen my enthusiasm, how much I want it. She's going, yeah, 50 quid, Dan, for that cake. But honestly, if you get a chance to go in there, they do some lovely bits. They really do. And these guys aren't sponsoring me either. Just before anyone starts speaking, oh, he's plugged them. He's got a few quid out of them. I've got nothing. I'm only praising them because the food is so fucking good. You don't get enough food in this world for free, and I think a lot of people need to shout out about more local businesses.
Definitely.
Yeah.
More local businesses need more help. If you've got a local butcher, or you've got a local shop, then fucking use it. Stop going to all the big ones. Big ones are there for the big shops. If you need something from down the road, use your local shop. It's very important that we all stick together through this tough time. So, thank you, good night, much love. You two have been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for coming on, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.
Cool.
Like, share and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. Take care and good night.